website isn't used because your users are confused. Bad UI can be quite deadly. Let's make it sweet and friendly. Make buttons scale and skew, keyframes animated too. Change color and use easing, the effect will be quite pleasing. Try rotations and translations in Adventures in Web Animations.
Welcome to Adventures in Web Animations. My name is Alyssa Nichol and I'll be your guide. We guide users online using the tools that we have available, like color, font, and motion. So in this course, we're going to be diving specifically into motion. We'll learn how to create helpful and fun animations using transitions, transforms, keyframe animations, and even animating SVGs. Throughout this course, we'll be learning to animate this site here, which is selling Sweetlands, the game. You'll need a working knowledge of HTML and CSS as a prereq for this course. A bit of JavaScript and jQuery are helpful, but not required. Welcome to Level 1 Transitions, where we will be talking about transitioning color. Transitions cause changes to a property to take place over a period of time. So for instance, instead of an element changing color from white to pink instantly, transitions will cause this to take place over time. This period of time is referred to as a duration. We just talked about all the things we have available on the web to guide users, but guide them to what? Well, a primary call to action, or CTA, is the primary goal for a user on a web app. And for our site, this would be to purchase the Sweetlands game. So we're going to use CSS transitions to make this Buy Now button more of a prominent call to action. So we're going to start off by styling the initial and hover background states of our button. For the initial state, we'll give it a lighter blue, and then for the hover state, we'll give it a slightly darker blue. One thing to note with transitions like this is you can transition from a keyword to a hex or from a hex to RGB. It doesn't have to be the same type of value. We have our initial and hover states set. So for any transition that we're going to do, we'll use this recipe. We'll say transition and then give it a property and a duration. So for our button, we'll say transition, the property of background color, and then 0.4 seconds for the duration. As you can see here on our site, when you hover over the button, it's transitioning from this lighter blue to a darker blue. It's a good idea to stay subtle with transitions and only dramatize when you really need to call attention to an element. And even then, be wary of super crazy transitions. The fastest transition easily seen by the human eye is 0.256 seconds. So anything a lot faster than that might not be noticeable. You can transition multiple properties when they're comma separated. So on hover, we've given the text a slightly darker color. To transition that color along with the background color, we say comma, color, and then give it a duration. We'll say 0.4 seconds. And you can see here that on hover, both the background and the text color are transitioning. If you'll notice, both the background color and the text color have a 0.4 second duration. We can shorten this by using the all keyword and just say all 0.4 seconds. Be careful though, because any property that can animate will, because we're saying transition all properties. As you can see on the site though, it's still working as expected. Thus far, we've only been using transitions with 2 values, but there's actually 4 values to a full transition recipe. The property and the duration, which we know about, and then the timing function and delay. Technically, all that needs to be specified is the duration. The rest have defaults, like the property defaults to all, the timing function defaults to ease, and the delay defaults to 0. So that means a transition like this, that are specifying all of the default values, can be shortened to just transition 0.4 seconds. You want to leave the defaults out unless you need to change them. All of our examples thus far, and for the rest of the course, will be without vendor prefixes. However, out in production, you might need to use them. Prefixes look like this: WebKit, Moz, MS. They're just these prefixy keywords that go before things like transition. How do I know which property will need a prefix though, and for what browser? I personally like to use a website called caniuse.com. Here, you simply type in the thing you're wanting to use, like transition or keyframes, and then it will list out each of the browsers that are compatible with that and which ones you need to use prefixes. Sometimes browsers don't even work with prefixes, and you'll see those highlighted in red. Have fun practicing transitioning color in the challenges, and I'll see you back in the next section.